Hello, and welcome back to another devlog for Simulacrum. I've made quite a lot of progress since my last video, and I'll show off some of that later, but first, I want to talk a little bit about the grid system for the game, as promised in the last devlog. The grid system in the game needs to update consistently regardless of order, a common problem for grid-based systems. Normally, you would simply copy the entire board to a buffer, and then update the buffer based on the original. This is the case for things such as cellular automata, the most famous of which is Conway's Game of Life. Unfortunately, I can't do this because it's not trivial to copy Unity's game objects quickly. That's not to say it's not possible, but it is very slow. The other alternative is to have a second version of the grid outside of bounds and use that as a buffer, updating only one at a time and then switching them when we want to push the updates. However, I think I found a more elegant solution. I'm calling it a command buffer, a queue of commands or instructions that then gets applied once we've finished checking and updating the grid. This means that I don't need to mess around copying objects or updating two grids. To give an example, if I want to make a type of block that falls one cell for every step of time, I would loop over every block of that type, adding a move command to the command buffer. Then once I'm done, work through the command buffer and apply all of the actions. Doing it this way might seem overcomplicated, but it's essential to provide consistent behavior. Now, onto my progress since last time. I've got placing, removing, selecting, and moving fully functional. I realised that a rotate tool probably wasn't going to be that useful, as there's likely won't be many blocks that require rotation, so I replaced it with a move tool. This feels a lot better, but I still think I could simplify this more. My plan is to combine the select tool and move tool, so that to move a selection, you just click and drag inside of it, similar to the way A-Sprite handles selection. I've also fixed a few bugs, and can now use multiple block types, although these are all still just placeholders. I did all of this using finite state machines, which allow me to define a state, such as a placing state or a moving state, and then execute different code separately. What would normally be a mess of booleans and if statements can be converted into a much simpler structure, as can be seen with this example. Here there are only 4 different states, but doing it with if statements is already 24 different possibilities for moving between them. With finite state machines, it's reduced to only 4 states, resulting in simpler code and less of it. That's all of the progress for this video, so thank you for watching, remember to like and subscribe, and see you next time.